Hello everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Micro Galaxy Squadron Imperial Shuttle. This is just starting to hit Walmarts across the US. If you want to go ahead and get it earlier than the pre-order dates, try checking out some of those stores to see if they have it in stock. This thing is part of the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi lineup of vehicles and figures that we're getting across all different brands of toy companies this year. I love that we're seeing such a collaborative effort. Thank you, Lucasfilm, for making sure that toy companies are on this thing and that you have some universal packaging that you're giving to everything. That's really cool to look at. So, I was able to buy this thing for $30. I'm going to break this thing open to see if it's worth that price. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so right off the bat, before actually looking at anything with the vehicle itself, I want to go ahead and take a look at the backdrop that comes with the set. You can take this out of the box and set it up on its own, and it looks pretty good as you can all see. There's a beautiful image of the second Death Star there, a Star Destroyer in the background that looks really nice. There's this really nice blue hue to everything, and this would work really well if you wanted to set it up in a display with the shuttle. Alright, next up we're going to look at the figures included with this vehicle. This time around we get 3 figures, the Emperor himself and 2 of his royal guards. I think this is a pretty decent figure selection, so let's go ahead and take a close-up look at each of these. First up, here's the Emperor. You can see his sculpt is looking really nice there with the details on the robe. He's looking really great. Next up, we do have 2 of those red Imperial guards. Those look really nice as well, holding their pikes there. I do think there's a figure missing from the set, but before we get into details about that, let's look at the ship itself here. You can see it's in the landed position, which is probably how you're going to have this thing set up, because it's got the landing gear to support this pose. And you can see while it's set up like this, it does look really nice. You can already see from this distance a lot of the detail included in the sculpt. So let's go ahead and lift this thing up so we can look at the different features that are available here. You can see the cockpit can just open right up. If we open that up, we can take a look at the 6 different seats inside. That's right, just in the cockpit of this thing, they give you enough room to sit 6 different figures. That's awesome. Turning this thing around to the bottom, you can see the landing gear that can pop out if you want to set this thing up. You can just flip those 2 things right back in if you want to have it in the flying position. There's also the ramp that you can extend that will act almost as a 3rd leg of landing gear. You can't shut that on its own, so you actually have to hit that button right behind it, and when you press that button, it just snaps it right back into place. It snaps it with a really satisfying little motion there. I don't feel like anything is straining when it does that, and it feels really tight shut once you've done that. So here's a closer look at all 6 of those seats in that cockpit compartment. It's really easy to open up and access, and you can even go ahead and stick in a figure into any one of these 6 seats. The biggest problem with that is they don't give us a good figure to stick in here. You can stick in the Royal Guard, which is the example that I'm going to show you guys right here, and it does look decent, but I wish they included either a pilot or Imperial officer that could pilot this thing. Next up, let's take a look at how we can access the main hull of this ship. If we bend the wing back here, you can see that there are actually these tabs along the side of the main body. There's one right here. There's a second one that's up top along the bottom of that wing, and one that's right here on the other side of that wing. I like to go ahead and start by kind of grabbing the tab by the top wing. If you go ahead and just pull it off from back there, the whole thing comes off really easily, and it gives you access to the interior. You can see, even though the cockpit has a lot of space itself, there's even more space back here. You can sit up to 7 figures, including the Emperor in his throne. That throne looks really nice sculpted in there, and let's go ahead and load up some figures in here so we can see what that looks like. So here it is with the 3 figures included with the set loaded into the main hull. You can see the Emperor looks really nice loaded in there on his throne. He's got 2 royal guards, 1 on either side of him in those seats. You can sit up to 6. It'd probably be a really tight fit because it's not easy to load them in there, but you can see when you do put the included figures in this vehicle, they look really nice in there. This thing can be in more than just the landed pose though. There is some great articulation with the wings. Let's go ahead and take a look at how those wings can move. They're actually really easy to fold out. All you have to do is grab either one of the wings, start bending it down, and you'll see the other one does follow it down. So they are attached to a dual system. Then you've got them down. You can go ahead and swoosh this thing around, and it looks awesome with the wings down. It increases the footprint of this thing quite a bit and makes it feel even bigger. And it's just as easy to flap those wings right back up if you want to put it back into a landed position. Here's a full view of this shuttle in its flight mode, and this thing looks awesome when you have the wings folded out. You can see from pretty much any angle you look at this thing from, it's going to look amazing. With the wings folded out like this, it has such a large footprint. You can see all the detail around the sculpt, especially in the engines on the back. I think that blue pops really nice. You have a turret that can rotate left and right here. It's pretty easy to get it to rotate or to put it back into its starting position, so that's a nice little included detail. There are even turrets on the side of the wings and on either side of the cockpit. Those are nice details as well. And just going nice and close up on some of the detail in the sculpt here, you can just see how perfect they nailed this thing. There's so much detail sculpted in here, whether it's the gears along the side of the wing system that can rotate up, all the little lines and boxes and turret details and everything else along the hull here looks really nice. The wash that they put over everything to give it a little bit of weathering is really nice. The pops of black that you get from the venting on the top of the ship and the window of the cockpit there is amazing. Everything about this thing just looks great. Of course, we have to look at this thing side by side with the brand new Micro Galaxy Squadron AT-AT as well, and you can see that these things are actually really comparable in size once you get those wings opened up. The AT-AT has a little bit more density to it because you can actually open the body up and there's a lot of space in there, but these things look pretty close next to each other. Even in a landed position, you can see that the shuttle takes up a pretty decent chunk of space compared to the Walker. For half price, it feels like you're getting way more than half of the amount of stuff. So, do I think that this thing is worth the $30 price tag? Absolutely I do. I think that this is a great deal, especially in 2023 when prices on certain things are getting really expensive. Take a look at any of the Hasbro products, especially the recent vintage collection speeder bike, and you'll find crazy price tags. That one was $45. For $15 less, you can get yourself this. It feels like it's just as detailed and well painted and sculpted all over. It's way bigger, and yeah, the footprint is kind of an illusion because of the wingspan, but you saw what it looked like next to that recent AT-AT. This thing is huge, and it's a fantastic deal for $30. If you find one at a local Walmart, go ahead and pick it up.